and welcome to the latest episode of the Dram show with me, Chris Dram. Right, this afternoon, let's get back to tasting some whiskey after all that non-whiskey related stuff of last week. Right, okay, so the tasting I had planned to do was an interesting one, some single cask stuff, but I didn't really have enough of the information about them. I mean, I obviously knew what the whiskies were, but I didn't know the cask numbers. I didn't even know what the alcohol was on them. So I thought I'll wait until I get all the full information about those particular bottlings before I do an episode of the show on. So it was basically a case of Plan B, and well, Plan B. Not exactly like I've got a shortage of stuff to share with you, but I thought let's do something that's reasonably topical. So I thought we would have a look at the new single cask range that was released in September of this year by Douglas Laing. As you probably know by now, that the two brothers that ran Douglas Laing decided to go their separate ways, with one keeping the Douglas Laing brand and one setting up the Hunter Laing brand. And Hunter Laing basically took Old Malt Cask and Old and Rare and a few other bits and pieces. So it kind of left Douglas Laing with essentially the Provenance range of bottlings, which yeah, I mean, some of them are quite pleasant, but they're relatively young and not cask strength bottlings, all bottled at 46%, so they obviously needed something to kind of fill the gap in. So hence the new range called Old Particular, or Old Peculiar as I kind of keep wanting to call it. I don't know why, it's just one of those things. But so the range, basically the plan with them is to bottle all of them. Well, it will be a selection of yeah, we'll bottle all of them, obviously. It's going to be a selection of whiskies that are a minimum of 13 years old. The youngest ones that they will bottle at 48.4%, which is a bit of an odd ABV, but I guess it's kind of getting away from the Old Malt Cask 50% bottling and all that kind of stuff. The older ones that they intend to do in the range, they will bottle at I think it's 51.5, sorry, and then other ones that they deem will be bottled at their natural cask strength. So it's going to be an interesting range, I think. I mean, obviously Douglas Laing got a huge array of casks, and some, bottled some exceptionally good stuff over the years. So I must admit I wasn't particularly surprised to find that the inaugural range of Old Particular included some really quite impressive bottlings. I think from memory they bottled something like about 21, I think it was 21 different whiskies, of which I think I got about 13 of the samples, and from that 13 samples I selected 5 that I thought were to me the most interesting, and certainly not quality to sort of price ratio, which is always something that is quite important. I mean, sometimes you taste some whiskies and you think, my God, that's absolutely stunning, and then you think about how much it's going to retail for, and you just sort of go, okay, a bit like the old Portney 40-year-old, I guess, to a certain extent. But there's, like I said, there's certainly a correlation, and as I've said on a number of occasions, it's not necessarily about whether the whiskey's good or bad. Sometimes it can be a pretty good whiskey. It's all a question: is it worth the price tag? And that's certainly one of the questions I have to ask myself. Certainly if I'm tasting something and I'm a kind of umming and ahhing about it, then sometimes it will be a case of what's it going to go on the shelf at. It will be the final, I guess, either nail in the coffin or the final sort of thing that makes me decide, yeah, I'm going to go for that. Because sometimes if I'm undecided, it's basically because there might not be something quite right in there, or maybe it's not sort of like, you know, doing it for me in the first instance. But anyway, that's really enough of that. So shall I shut up and introduce this afternoon's little lineup then? Right. Okay. So as I was saying, of the 13 odd samples that I received, 5 of them sort of stood out for me, and of those 5 I've chosen 4 to share with you. As you can see, another Glencairn bites the dust, so substitute glass comes out again. So anyway, what we're looking at, okay, this is the first one, which is the 15-year-old Braeval, bottled at 48.4, which is, like I said, going to be the sort of standard bottling alcohol percentage for the younger spirits. The second one we'll be looking at is the Auchroisk 18-year-old, again bottled at 48.4. The third bottling we'll be looking at is the Bowmore 25-year-old. This is bottled at 50.2%. And lastly, but not least, we'll be looking at this, the Teaninich. I don't see an awful lot of Teaninich about it, has to be said. This is a 30-year-old and bottled at 49.3. Obviously, as we come to taste them individually, I'll give you a little bit more information about the individual whiskey. But so that's this afternoon's little lineup, and should we crack on? Right. Okay. So let's kick off with the Braeval, distilled in 1998. Like I say, 15 years old. Now, I mean, as you know, Douglas Laing tend to use a DL number as for the cask number of each of their bottlings, but unfortunately, I don't know what they are because I don't have the actual bottles here with me. All I get is a kind of like an internal reference number, I suppose, which probably doesn't mean an awful lot to anyone outside of, you know, the company. But anyway, for those of you that want to know, this is OLP 0021, and incidentally, all of these I reviewed in the last Whisky newsletter that I did. So if you subscribe to the newsletter and have got a copy of it, and you know, want to sort of kind of read along as while I do this, then feel free. But anyway, so let's have a look at the nose now. Braeval is kind of interesting. I've not tasted a huge amount of Braeval, and a lot of it I've tasted tends to be sort of quite youngish, sort of, you know, under 15 years old, and it's okay. It can be pleasantly honeyed and barleyed and what have you. Other times it can just be a bit too young, really. So let's see what the nose gives us on this, then, shall we? Ooh, that's nice. That's fruity. That's big. Quite tropical. Melon, honey, dusty barley. A little bit of creamy oak. Some green tropical fruit. Maybe a bit of kiwi. Lots and lots of honey. That is a lovely nose. That is absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, I mean, I think from tasting it in the past, it's certainly, I think it's always shown potential to be an interesting malt. But I just think it obviously, like Springbank and like a few other malts, just needs a little bit more time in the cask to give it some character. And my, this certainly has some character. Bit banana-y now. Pineapple. Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I suppose this is one of these kind of malts that you'll either love or hate. You either love these exuberantly fruity malts, a bit like, say, Arran, for example, or you don't, you know, because they can be very, very overwhelming, very tropical, very aromatic, really fruity. I just love them because you just sort of like just breathe in all this lovely tropical fruit. Palate. Oh, that's nice. Bit of grip on the finish. Almost a little bit of a sort of Sauvignon Blanc grassiness. Again, like the nose, lovely, full, lots and lots of tropical fruit, melon, apricot, guava, pineapple, a little bit of banana, very fleshy, some nice, creamy, soft oak, a little bit of spice. I mean, I think this retails about 50 something, and absolute bargain as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that is just absolutely gorgeous. A beautiful whiskey. Like I said, big, juicy, fruity. It really is a kind of wow malt, and I guess not being a sort of a majorly well-known distillery, the price is relatively good, I think. So, nice start. Right, on to the Auchroisk. Now, the interesting thing about the Auchroisk is I think I've only ever come across one other bourbon oaked example of this particular distillery. More often than not, it tends to come across it in various shades of sherry. So let's see what the nose gives us. It's herbal, again lightly tropical, gristy, very slightly gristy, oily, some almost kind of pithy raspberry. That's a lovely nose in actual fact. Little bit of coffee coming through, quite malty, dense, and yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice malt. It's kind of, I say, yeah, it's dense. It's coffeed, and there's a little bit of richness there. It's almost like a refill sherry richness, but obviously it's an American oak cask. But as you see from the colour, but yeah, that's quite spicy now. Just getting a sort of dry, sort of cinnamony sort of dustiness. Palate. Oily, slightly milky, chocolatey, nice citrus, got a real, citrus finish to it, crisp, some barley, a little bit of apricot, a little bit of honey, but that's got some lovely grip, finishes really clean, crisp, little bit of herbalness. Yeah, that's really complex, and that's very, very enjoyable. Right, okay, so on to the Bowmore then. As you would probably guess, old Bowmore, not going to be cheap, and it isn't. It's about close to £250 a bottle, so let's see what the nose gives us on this then, shall we? It's got quite a sweet nose actually. A lot of sweet barley, briny, for a 25-year-old, it's quite youthful in actual fact. There's a core of honeyed, dusty violets, barley, a little bit of licorice, some coffee, some really dusty light peat. Wow, that's a complex nose. That is incredibly good. It's not monstrous. It's really, really elegant, and I think Bowmore can be. I mean, it can be really, really fishy and stinky, and sometimes it can be just absolutely gorgeous and elegant, just like this is. Yeah, nice and briny, but not overly briny. I'm guessing this cask has probably spent a fair few years on the mainland. It's just dusty and deep and mature. Like I said, it's that lovely kind of, you know, violety note that you often get with Bowmore, certainly older Bowmore. Just absolutely gorgeous. A lovely mature Isla. Alice? Wow, 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 that's gorgeous. Kind of opens up with lots and lots of juicy fruit, apricot, mature, mellow fruit, a little bit of spice, pepperiness, you know. And then you get this sort of crumbly, dry, dusty peat, light Parma violets, a lot of Parma violets on the finish in actual fact. Dusty peat, full, a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of mature, slightly sawdusty oak. Wow, wow, that is full, long, fresh, crisp. That's a lovely old Bowmore. And yep, you can argue it's going to be expensive. You know, that 250 quid is a lot for a whiskey, but oh my, that is good. That's good whiskey. Right, and finally the 30-year-old Teaninich, which in actual fact is cheaper than the 25-year-old Bowmore, but that's because you just don't, well, you don't really hear of Teaninich. I don't think I've tasted very many bottlings of it at all. I can probably count them on one hand, I would imagine. So anyway, let's see what the nose gives us on this. Now, that's mature, quite oily, bit of lanolin, but there's some lovely crisp citrus, touch of honey, mature honey, sawdusty oak, lightly herbal. Oh, that's lovely. That's got that lovely old spey kind of character to it. Dusty, maybe not quite as full as maybe say something like a Glen Grant, but oh, that's lovely. Hints of old coffee, but it's just that lovely citrus freshness. And if it didn't have that, it would probably be a bit old, a little bit flabby, and a little bit nondescript. But that citrus note, oh, it just gives it a lovely freshness. Wow, did I mention the honey? Ooh, it's got some honey to die for, really nice. Gosh, this is just one of those sort of malts that you can just kind of just keep sniffing, because it is just absolutely fantastic. It's just wonderfully old, but not too old. It's like I said, that citrus gives it that fresh, absolutely lovely sort of crunchy orange with a sprinkling of granulated sugar, a bit of lime, maybe some lemon as well. Oh, it's just really, really complex. And for, oh, how much is it? Oh, £109 and 54 pence on the website. That is worth absolutely every penny. I mean, if that had Glen Grant on the label, you'd be looking at closer to the 250 quid mark. So, palate. God, that's stunning. It's, again, it's like the nose. It's got lovely maturity, some lovely sawdusty mature oak, lots of honey, and again that sort of fresh citrusness, which balances. And I mean, I know I kind of go on and on about balancing whiskies, but that to me is just absolutely stunning. Poised, balanced. Like I said, it's got the mature fruit, the mature oak, the honey, and then you've got this kind of citrus intensity that kind of keeps it all clean and fresh. Lovely spicy finish, dusty, mature, elegant. Yeah, that is sensational stuff. That really is very, very good. What more can you say? Right, okay, so let's sum this little tasting up then. As well, all of these appear on the website. I kind of like shoehorned them into the shop, kind of pushed a few bottles around. I thought, yep, I've got to have some of these. I mean, these are some fantastic whiskies. The Braeval is just, you know, a gorgeous fruit monster. Like I said, if you like Arran, if you like those kind of big tropical, Glencadam, another one for example, if you like that style, if you like the big tropical character, the Braeval is absolutely fantastic. The Auchroisk, I really liked it. Sort of lovely, lovely freshness again, slightly oily, really interesting bottling, all nice and harmonious, and you know, really pleasant. The Bowmore, well, what can you say? I mean, the Bowmore is stunning. I mean, within the range, I think they released something, what was that, 35-year-old Port Ellen. I mean, obviously I didn't get a sample of that. And, you know, I've tasted some stunning Port Ellens, and I've tasted some not so stunning Port Ellens. And I guess the same can say for Bowmore, but this was absolutely stunning, and I think worth absolutely every penny. It is a classic old Bowmore. It's elegant, gentle, light peatiness, dusty, that lovely sort of Parma violets, some tar, some creosote as well. You know, just an all-round lovely old malt, old Islay malt. So, yeah, it's expensive, but I think if you've got the you know, the budget for something of that ilk, then you know you can't go wrong with that one. And the Teaninich, well, I mean, for the money, that is just such good value. It is untrue. I mean, 30-year-old, less than, you know, £120 a bottle. I mean, wow. And the quality is just absolutely incredible. And again, it just comes down to the fact that it's not such a well-known distillery. You know, if it was Glen Grant or Glenmore or one of these other sort of, you know, really well-known Speyside distilleries, then, you know, you're looking at well over £200 a bottle really for a 30-year-old. So value for money wise, absolutely excellent. So there you have it. I mean, we have stocks of all of them on the website www.gauntleys.com, but you should know that one by now. And you know, if any of them sort of sound like your kind of thing, well, you know, just pop on over to the website and get yourself a bottle, because you know they are absolutely stunning, all of them, and I think they're all in their own way excellent value for money. So yep, guess that's about it for this afternoon. No more whiskey left in my glasses. So on that note, I will bid you good afternoon and good ramming. I don't know if I like you.